let me get your name and
Okay.
spelling on camera.
Okay, my name is Harry Howard, and I'm a native of Savannah, Georgia, and I live out on Whitmarsh Island, quite near the Savannah Yacht Club.
Okay. Are you a master gardener, or what do you call
Yes,
yourself?
I've taken the Master Gardener's course, I guess about 15 years ago I did that. But I consider myself much more rosarian than a Master Gardener.
Now tell me about your involvement with this garden and the things you were telling me over there about Miss White. How did this all start?
This garden, I think, was probably planted in 1993 or 94 by a very charming lady by the name of Ann White, and she's a native Savannian. Her father was a federal judge. She was very active during World War II with the Red Cross, and supposedly she was quite friendly with General Eisenhower, and she played bridge with him in London quite frequently.
Okay. I'm going to turn your body just a little bit. There we go. Yeah. That's
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. So she was a big deal.
She was. She really was. She died in 2001, and I happened to be president of the Savannah Rose Society at that time. And 2001, incidentally, was the year of the rose internationally. And so she left a trust fund to maintain and improve this garden. And I was asked by the trust to maintain the garden and to replant it, and that's what I've done ever since.
What was she like as a person, and why did she care so much?
She was a very charming lady. I don't know how to describe her exactly, but she was a very charming person. She loved Savannah, and she loved flowers. She was a member of Savannah Rose Society. She was also a member of the Owsley Park Garden Club, and you're probably going to edit this out, but I think she was married 5 times.
Oh, okay.
But she got along famously with everyone, and she knew people all over the world.
We're going to have to wait a second.
Yeah.
Somebody walking behind us.
Okay. And I was asked to come over here and do a pruning demonstration before I really was familiar with the garden, and I came early, thank goodness, because it took me a long time to find a rose that was worth pruning. But I was very impressed with the layout of the garden, and I said to myself at that time, if I ever had an opportunity to work in this garden, I would certainly like to do so. And so when she asked me to take care of it, it really was a great challenge for me to do that.
Why do you care so much? I mean, why does Savannah need a garden like this? What difference does it make?
Well, over the years in my gardening career, I meet new people coming into Savannah, and they tell me what a lovely place Savannah is, but it's a shame you can't grow roses here. So that was one of the things that kind of spurred me to prove to them that, or to the community, that yes, we can have beautiful roses in Savannah. Savannah is a nice place to grow roses. The only problem is, of course, we're very humid, which means that we probably have to spray a little more often than you do in some of the other communities that don't have the humidity that we do.
Are there certain kinds of roses that do better here?
You
or
know,
is it just a matter of how and when?
You know, I just planted a rose about 6 months ago that a friend of mine brought me from Japan, and it does well up in Rhode Island, and it's done well for me so far. So I haven't found a rose yet that I couldn't get to grow reasonably well, Of course, some do better than others.
How often do they bloom here?
I try to make my roses bloom 5 times. A season starts about mid-March, and I try to make them bloom through Christmas.
Even in the heat of summer?
Yeah. The summer roses are a little more difficult. We have a saying in rose culture that April's roses are God's roses, but December's roses are man's roses. It's easy to get roses in April, but hard to get them in December.
One of the added benefits of having the garden here is what it offers to people who are in their life.
I got very excited when I realized that this garden was just a few steps across the little creek from hospice. So it seems to me it was a natural relationship for the volunteers and the patients and the families. Visiting hospice, just have a few steps to be right in the middle of my rose garden.
What do they tell you about what it means to them?
I have to tell you a little story, and I'm digressing a little bit, but I have 2 granddaughters that live in Chicago, and at the time they were about 5 and 7, and we were here one Saturday afternoon, and I was pruning the roses, and a young man with his grandmother was here. She was in a wheelchair, but she was alert and a very lovely person. And so I cut several roses and gave them to my granddaughters and told them to give them to this lovely lady. And the next day I got a note in my box saying that was the best 4th of July she had ever spent in her life. And knowing that was going to be her last 4th of July, that made quite an impression on me. And I've continued thinking about the garden in that direction before and since. It's just a place that I like people to get pleasure from.
Well, you're a man of means who's done well. You got plenty of time. Why do you choose to spend that time here when you could be voting, you could be doing anything you wanted? Why do you come here?
I have 6 other rose gardens that I take care of on Wilmington Island and in downtown Savannah, but this is my favorite garden because it is Savannah's garden, and still it's an unknown secret to many people in Savannah, but we do have a beautiful rose garden here, and certainly I get a great deal of pleasure working, you know.
What do you want to say to Savannaians who haven't been here and don't know about it? Like me, this is my first time here, and I've lived here for almost 20 years.
Well, we do have a beautiful garden, and it blooms 5 times, starting the latter part of March and the 1st of April, and then about every 4 to 5 weeks in between. So if you want to relax and see some beautiful flowers, please come out and visit us.
And, you know, hopefully this goes for decades more down the road. What is your wish for future gardeners and future visitors who will come and build on what you've started?
Well, there is a small trust fund, and when I'm no longer here, I intend to add to that trust fund. And there are members of the Savannah Rose Society and also people here that work at the Botanical Center that I feel confident will continue. My total routine of what I do on a daily basis, I have written so someone can just follow these instructions and it'll be done.
All right. Do you have anything you'd like to add that I didn't ask you?
No, I think that covers about everything we need to cover.
Okay. Well, I think that was great. We'll think